Hey, how's it going, everybody? Another sign of the changing of the seasons here. They're putting the fall planting in here in front of Michigan Plaza here. So they're doing the bales of hay and the shocks of corn here, putting in the mums. We got October the 3rd here, 2025. Beautiful 80 degrees. Pretty good for the beginning of October. See if anybody can find us here. Chris, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in there. Yeah, see there we got, there's the Wrigley Building, Michigan Avenue. Hey, we'll go by Nando's and Nutella's. So I'm just going to take an easy walk here because it's Friday. We'll celebrate the Cubs win there last night over the Padres. I'm just going to head to the Buckingham Fountain. We'll walk through Grant Park there, Millennium Park, check out the Bean, and then I'll circle back to the South Loop. Probably just walk up Wabash or something. But hey, Nutella, there's no line today. Tourist season's over. Well, we got the marathon next weekend, and a lot of people come in town for the marathon. So hey, happy Friday. I'm the only person in the office today. I think everybody took off of work, even if they weren't a Cubs fan there. Here's the Bubblicious, the Liz, the Garris popcorn. But hey, the grand opening happened a week or two ago for the Auntie Anne Cinnabon and the Rainbow Cone. So yeah, we'll head around here. There it is, Auntie Anne Cinnabon, Rainbow Cone. You got it open now. You get your sherbet, pistachio, Palmer House. Wonder what that is. Strawberry chocolate. Yeah, feels warm in the sun here. Dolores, how you doing there? Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, we got beautiful sunshine here, 80 degrees. So hey, we'll go check out the Buckingham Fountain while it's still on. I think they'll keep it on till the end of the month. Sometimes they shut it off before Halloween, but usually it's around Halloween. If my memory is that right, when they turn off the Buckingham Fountain. I remember when they turned it on, we were there the last few years. We covered it. They usually do that in May. Hey, got the nice Can-Ams going up Michigan Avenue. Yeah, it's going to be a great day to cruise around on a convertible or an open-air car there. Wes, how you doing there? Yeah, thanks everybody that tuned in last night for the Cubs Wrigley festivities there. I know I cut out a few times there. Like a dummy, I should have known I was filming the large TV screen there, and they blocked my live stream because I was rebroadcasting the live broadcast there, but it was such a good, exciting finish. Post game. Yeah. Sheridan, how you doing there? Yeah, everybody there. So, hey, thanks for tuning in. Happy Friday. Yeah, 80 degrees. We got 12:03. October the 3rd here. Yeah, we'll just go by the Bean. We'll head down to Buckingham Fountain, walk through the park where everything's still green and summer-like. And yeah, it's a nice e-bike there. It's probably one like Grim Evil has there. I don't know if he's got the fat tires though. Hey, this fountain's still on, good. Yeah, these trees stay green pretty long. They're some of the first trees to get their leaves in spring too. They got a hardier brand of trees here. Yeah, I'm looking for the National Guard too. You know, on Sunday there were, like right here in Millennium Park, they apprehended somebody. It's of course controversial. Here comes a helicopter, so maybe here's the National Guard. We saw a Black Hawk helicopter land. Somebody filmed that. I hear a helicopter, but I can't see it through the trees here. So but I can never tell if people in the comments are pro-ice or anti-ice when they ask about that, because some people like to taunt Chicago about it, like we deserve to be punished. See, that's a news helicopter. There's a news helicopter. I think that's what that is. That wasn't a military helicopter. Hey, there I am. How you doing there? See, I flipped around the screen there. See? So here, how do I flip it back around here? I don't even know how I flipped it around there. Somehow I flipped around the screen. So here, let me see if I can flip it back around here, because although I don't mind people. There we go, flip camera there. There we go. Although now I'm used to myself being on camera and other people filming me, which it's your right to do. I'm in public, you can film me just like I film you. But you know, we happen to counter each other here. But I want to stream moving forward here like we usually do. Oh, I'm trapped in here. People are taking pictures of me. How's it going? Appreciate it. It's good. So here, everybody sit at the top of the stairs. They're gonna get a nice picture of me there. We'll head around. Hey, Millennium Park, Grant Park, 80 degrees. So we're in Chicago. I assume you're asking about the Flatiron Building in New York City. Or is there a Flatiron Building in Chicago? Or are you talking about the one in North Milwaukee and Damon? There's several Flatiron buildings in Chicago and New York, so please be specific. But I usually don't take requests. I don't know what about social media thinks. I guess people are just like are trying to coerce me to do certain things, like I'm a robot or something. But that's good there. Yeah, here's the Great Bean of Chicago. This is Millennium Park. New York City has a knockoff. They actually, one of the rare examples where a New York developer tried to capitalize on the success of the Bean and put the New York's version of the Cloud Gate, the same artist on Anish Kapoor there. It was at the bottom of a skyscraper there in Manhattan. But even all day New York City, he was like, it's not as good as the Chicago Bean. I guess the best form of flattery is imitation. Houston has the same thing, the same artist, Anish Kapoor. They commissioned him after he did this one, riding on the success of this. And I call that the Houston Almond. I've been to that several times there in Herman Park, or near the museums. They're near Herman Park there in Houston, Texas. But this is Chicago. Here's the Cloud Gate. Affectionately known as the Bean there. So here, let's hey, look at that Dachshund, that dog there. Here, let's take advantage of the sunshine, and we'll head straight down to, we'll go down Michigan Avenue a little further. We'll go past the Art Institute and we'll head towards, we'll cut into the Grant Park and go into Buckingham Fountain there. Taco, how you doing there? RGR. Yeah. Flick it, yeah. I got reruns of somebody flicking the Bean. If you're really that interested, and I tire of all this stuff, you know, flick the Bean. Every time I show the Bean, someone asks me to flick the Bean. I'm not going to do it every time. I don't believe there's a man trapped in the Bean. And I know everybody wants to sexualize everything, including the Bean. Of course, that'll be sexualized. Skyscrapers get sexualized as phallic symbols. Even the Smurfit Stone building is a rare feminine version of that. Female. Hey, take pictures there. Nice sunshine here. Feels like summer. Hey, thanks for tuning in here. I'm still letting people are still asking me on TikTok. They're like, why can't I watch your live streams on TikTok? I said, it's because I've been streaming on YouTube. They're like, oh, that makes sense. They're like, how did this content get here? You didn't stream it on TikTok. I'm like, I streamed it on YouTube. They're like, oh. They're like, come back to TikTok. I'm like, TikTok kicked me out of the Creator Fund. They canceled all my subscriptions. They're like, no, don't come back to TikTok. Then people come to my side. They understand that TikTok's driving me away. It's a conscious decision. TikTok doesn't want me on their platform. Just like I feel like my own president doesn't want me as an American anymore. Here's the Crown Fountain. They turned the water off. I guess that's why I didn't understand this under the Biden administration. The people that were against Biden really felt like Biden was punishing them. I really feel, I'm being honest, and this is part of this, and I'm sure people in MAGA love this, that, you know, I have liberal tears here, you know, that I deserve to be punished by my president, the president that you elected him to punish me and punish Chicago and punish not just undocumented migrants, that they want to punish U.S. citizens here because we live in sanctuary cities and we deserve to be punished because our politics differ from yours. And I know I have to acknowledge that maybe that's how people felt under Biden, and I didn't understand it because Biden's policies didn't bother me as much as they bothered people that support Trump. And that's America. When have Americans ever agreed about anything? You know, I just hope it doesn't lead to worse things. Here's, yeah, we're back to Michigan Avenue here. There's the University Club, Monroe building. Rare pitch roofs on, that's a private club. That's a commercial building. And then see how they added floors to some of these things. Here's the Gage group of buildings. That's Louis Sullivan. That's the Chicago Association Willoughby Tower. Willoughby Tower was haberdasheries. So were these the Gage. They were hat makers. We'll cross Monroe here and we'll head over towards the Art Institute. Hey, that's a nice Dutch bike, wheelbarrow bike. Here's Michigan Avenue. You can look all the way back to the Wrigley building. Yeah, the scenery there. That's good. Yeah, America's about revenge. United States of revenge. So here we're heading across Monroe Street. So we walked through the loop yesterday. We went through Daily Plaza. They had the farmers market. I think they got food trucks today. There's a Navy guy there. Great Lakes Naval Academy's northern suburbs here of Chicago along the lakefront. And we might hear some bucket drumming. We saw the Bucket Boys up there. Hey, this is open here. So this is a sculpture garden in part of the grounds of the Art Institute of Chicago. They closed this off at night because they don't want homeless people sleeping in here. But it's open technically. If the Art Institute security sees me, they'll probably chase me out here because they don't want people filming. But I consider this, art should be public. Art should be in the public domain here, especially for a institution like the Art Museum here in Chicago. And so, but hey, look at this. People are using this nice little park here. There you can see the building street wall there along Michigan Avenue. Yeah, are these hydrangeas? What's these big flowers here? But hey, the beautiful aesthetics of the Art Institute of Chicago. We'll head out past the Lions here. And on the other side is the fountain to the 5 Great Lakes. I got a rerun of that. Yeah, we'll see if that garden's open. Sometimes I lose my connection there, but see how you get the beautiful views of the skyline, the sculptures here. Sculpture Garden, Art Institute of Chicago. Yeah, Matthew, thanks for loving the Art Institute there. Yeah, I know. I'm afraid it's going to lead to more racial tension. U.S. citizens, it's not just black, African American Chicago U.S. citizens, also Latino, Hispanic U.S. citizens. They are getting detained by ICE and released. They have to prove their citizenship. That's what happened to Ernie. I'm very disheartened and discouraged that our Supreme Court in September made a temporary ruling that could be overturned at any point, where they actually allowed ICE to racially profile people. The Supreme Court said it was okay for ICE to racially, if people speak Spanish, if they're U.S. citizens that speak Spanish in public. This is a chilling effect to culture, you know, and I'm sure Japanese Americans felt this way during World War II when they were in intern camps. German Americans felt this way in World War I too. They wouldn't speak German publicly because the anti-war sentiment. Here we're going for the Art Institute of Chicago here. Hey, how you doing? Yeah. Here's the Lions. There's the Bucket Drummers there. Chicago. But yeah, these are strange times we're living in, and when you know, I didn't listen to the whole thing. I saw the clips of the president's speech there with Hegseth to the assembled military generals, and a U.S. president was asking U.S. military generals to prepare to use the military to occupy U.S. citizens and use U.S. citizens as practice for his War Department. What is that? What kind of message is that? And I'm tired of the president getting a pass where no one else, even J.D. Vance, if he would make that statement, would get a pass. That's a very flagrant thing to be asked, you know, because I'm sure some of the family and relatives of the military live in Chicago, live in New York, live in L.A. They're U.S. citizens. Do they want to occupy their family members, you know, because this is a house that divided against itself cannot stand, you know. But here, look at this beautiful. Here, everybody's taking a picture, so I'll get behind him here. How you doing? Let's see. Yeah, see, there's the fountain to the 5 Great Lakes here. Oh, see, everywhere I go, everybody's trying to get the same photo here. And yeah, it's such a beautiful photo here. But it's such a beautiful day with how the light filters through these trees. This is the park on either side of the Art Institute. This is the one on the south side. Hopefully my connection will stay up. We'll go up and try to get some close-up footage of the fountain to the 5 Great Lakes. There's 5 women, the personification, human personification of the 5 Great Lakes. Superior, Huron, Michigan, Ontario, and Erie. And that's what this is. I think it was Lorenzo Taft, I think, had something to do with this fountain, the sculptor. Lorenzo Taft, the artist there, and there's a tour here. So we'll head around. But hey, look at this. Yeah, he's taking the photo here. We got this nice pool of water here. And we'll head down. David, you know, so, okay, David, let's talk about this. So, there's a building on the south side, the south shore of Chicago. We're talking about this a lot in Chicago because we're not as okay with this as you seem to be. They rounded up everybody in the building, whether they were U.S. citizens or not. They zip-tied them, including kids. Pointed guns at kids, U.S. citizens, the children of, this is like Emilio Gonzalez stuff, you know, and the slow, like, we're learning to accept violence being used as a tool, which we've always had that was the police power. The police were in control of violence. Now ICE it's meant to be cruel. It's meant to be terrorizing. We got masked, unidentified people walking around with long guns in the middle of the night doing raids. And if you're a U.S. citizen and you got a warrant out, you know, what if you don't even know you got a warrant there, and then you're rounded up with ICE because and I'm tired of this because Ernie's a law-abiding citizen. Ernie was just walking down the street. ICE grabbed him from behind, slammed him against the hood of a car, handcuffed him, put a taser. He's a U.S. citizen, okay? And they released him. He showed him his social security card. His social security card had no photo identification on it. His real ID did. The real ID they wouldn't accept. They accepted. And so everybody's confused now. They're like, do we have to carry our social security card everywhere? Do we have to carry? I have to carry my passport as a U.S. citizen. I have. You know how many background checks I had to go through to get my job? You know, just working as architecture engineering firm, teachers and stuff like that. You know, and I'm just amazed that Americans are so willing to give up their civil liberties. Things in the Bill of Rights, the Fourth Amendment stuff, the Second Amendment stuff, you know. So, you know, you can have your opinion. I'm still going to strongly disagree with you. We should be more concerned about this because the ICE could easily be turned into Gestapo to go after people whose political beliefs differ. Again, ICE could be used against. It shouldn't be. It should be according to their the power that Congress has given them, but the Supreme Court seems to be okay with looking the other way. And the Supreme Court, they face the same as political leaders. I'm against political violence from wherever it comes from, the right or the left. We shouldn't, we have to acknowledge there's political violence on the left, there's political violence on the right. But both sides, this whataboutism, we got to get beyond this. Here's the Congress Hotel, in my opinion. So, hey, thanks for listening here. Hey, Roosevelt University, there's the old auditorium building, Louis Sullivan. There's the Congress Hotel, which is haunted. Maybe we'll go back in there later. I've gotten to some of the ballrooms and stuff. It really freaks people out. It has like the Shining vibes. Here's some buses. Is there anything? I know there's, okay, so thanks to Grim Evil, sent me about a video of about 5 things that are happening in Chicago. The thing I'm most interested in that's happening this weekend is in Chinatown, they're having the Moon Festival. I think they string up lanterns in Chinatown Square. That's on Saturday. Sunday, Maxwell's having their market. I keep missing, like, one Sunday a month they have a market there in Maxwell Street. Hey, here's the here's the indigenous men on the horse here, the bowmen and the spearmen. This is where it used to be Congress Parkway. Now it's Ida B. Wells or Congress Plaza Drive. And there's the South Loop. So, hey, here's the Buckingham Fountain. Let's head straight over here. Let's check out the Buckingham Fountain. Yeah. So, hey, thanks everybody for tuning in here. Yeah, thanks, Taco. Thanks for backing me up. I'm amazed how, Taco, are you amazed too? Everybody wants to stereotype me. I try to visit all areas of Chicago. We make an effort to go to the south side, the west side. I have over 300 videos on my TikTok page, but it'll never be enough. If I have 10,000 videos of the south and west side, because of how I look and because I live on the north side, people are gonna stereotype me, and I'm used to that because that's what we all do. And the reductive nature of social media, we all have to make snap judgments, and so I'll do my best to earn people's respect and show that I try to represent the city the best I can, not just show the gleaming corporate towers and the expensive housing on the north side, but that's mostly what I show because that's where I live. So I'm not going to apologize for where I live. I pay a lot of money to live there. And I'm confused because most of what social media does, it promotes the culturally dominant narrative of white society to buy and consume things and buy stock. That's what TikTok does. That's what YouTube does. That's what X and Instagram, it promotes this consumer materialistic where everybody can size each other up. And it becomes you feel like you're in high school all over again. Just like, it's like you don't fit in with the cool kids, Here's, look at the beautiful flowers here. They got the garden here. There's the Lincoln statue we go through here. We're gonna try to head over to the Buckingham Fountain, but I'm gonna miss the light here. So here, this is called Art on the Farm, an urban agriculture kitchen garden. This mini farm uses organic production practices, contains 150 heritage heirloom varieties of vegetables, edible flowers, culinary and medicinal herbs representing cultures from all over the world. There you go. Look at that beautiful skyline there. We'll get a better view of it once we get out to the Buckingham Fountain here. But hey, they got some corn here. Look how tall those flowers are. They're as tall as the corn. They went up the stakes. But here, we'll head over. So if you just joined, we're in Chicago. We're in Grant Park. And what people that support the current presidential administration have to understand is we absolutely do not trust this administration like you do. And we have to acknowledge that you have a trust in the president that we do not trust this guy. We feel like he's lying to us all the time, and the lies he says are the ones that you believe, and we don't believe them. And that's you know. Now I'm sure that was the same about Biden. I have to acknowledge that, and we have to accept this, but we have to somehow find a way to coexist with each other. Here, look, they're setting up for the marathon here. Here's some of the flags they're setting up for the marathon here. So this is the start and finish line for the marathon on Columbus Drive. And next weekend, next Sunday, not this weekend, next weekend, literally hundreds of thousands of people will be down here participating in the Chicago Marathon. And we'll watch it from where I live in Lincoln Park. They have a block party a street north of me, and we covered it last year there. I'll be doing it on YouTube, so we'll be able to watch the whole thing continuously, hopefully, if I can maintain a stream. But here's the Buckingham Fountain here. We got 1226 here, 80 degrees in Chicago. We're in Grant Park here, and we'll walk around the fountain. They're setting up for something here. I don't know what's going on here this weekend. Hey, Dolores, how you doing there? Margie, Christopher, yeah. Ernie's tuning in. Yeah. Running Man. So Running Man, I'm trying to figure out, are you like happy like you're like rooting for the National Guard to occupy Chicago? I'm trying to figure out what your stance is. You know, if you're like trolling us. And we'll figure it out, you know. Yeah, honk bonk, it's a beautiful day. Thanks for tuning in. But that's the last refuge of the helpless, is just to troll people, and they think that their ego's inflated by they think they like own the libs when they own nothing. You're just debating yourself, because just like if we criticize MAGA, you don't accept our criticism, and we don't accept yours. So we're just talking to ourselves. We're all in our own bubbles, and we're all living in our own realities. And it's so weird that we live in like the same America, but we perceive it completely different, which helps me understand how different cultures perceive America differently. Because, you know, I'm used to the white dominant culture, because, you know, I accepted I had all these unearned privileges I didn't even realize I had. You know, and that's what the whole debate's about. Here's there, look at that nice view to the Sears Tower, the skyline of Chicago. We're at the Buckingham Fountain here at Grant Park. What a beautiful day. Thanks for tuning in here. I wanted to catch this fountain while it's still on and still looks like summer. And we got to soak in all these days of sunshine here, because that fall and winter's coming. Even though it's October the 3rd, it's 80 degrees. We'll see what it feels like in 2 months. But here they do a light show. Ernie films this a lot. Watch Ernie Chicago Nuggies there. Watch Christopher Dodson of New York. If you want to see New York, watch Christopher Dodson. And we have a few others, you know, we talk about there. But we got such a great community of live streamers here in Chicago. So hey, I'm gonna head back to the South Loop. We'll head back this way. Yeah. Yeah, the Buckingham Fountain's still on. Yeah, you're right. The Centennial Fountain, it caught me off guard. I tried to film it earlier this week, and I was on Wednesday because I missed the boats, the sailboats that already headed through there. So I said, oh, I'll catch the beginning of the Centennial Fountain. But it was turned off completely. They don't, not just the water cannon, the whole fountain's turned off. So, but the Buckingham Fountain's still on. There's that nice view to the Sears Tower, Loop Skyline. We're going to head back there. Hey, Buckingham Fountain, Chicago, Illinois, Grant Park. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, very nice. Happy Friday, yeah. Can't believe the Cubs pulled it off last night. It was very harrowing, that last out. That's how baseball is. Hey, the rain, how you doing there? Yeah, I find, you know, yeah, if you don't have anything nice to say, no, that ain't gonna work either. Because I don't take my own advice. I complain a lot of times too. Thanks for listen to my rants and raves. I don't expect everybody to agree with my opinions. I'm being true. So people want to know where I stand on things. I have to indicate through my discourse so people know where I stand on things. And people do question me all the time. And I'll be like, why don't you show your face? You can tell I don't work for ICE. It's not funny. It's if I wouldn't laugh, I'd cry. So here, we'll head back. What time we got? 12:30. So yeah, let's reverse this. We'll head back to Wabash, and then we'll head up through the loop there. We'll head by the L tracks there, the elevated CTA tracks. This is Columbus Drive. Like I said, this is where they're going to do the marathon. I'll cover the marathon next Sunday, but I'll be doing it from Lincoln Park because they run past where I live twice. They go up through the park, and then they come down Clark Street. They usually go up towards. Sometimes, years past, they used to go up to Wrigley Field, but lately they haven't been going that far. And let me get across here before these cars. Anxious to make a right turn here. This is where we were just at. There you can see the crane for the top of the 400 North Lakeshore. It's amazing. It's not to be peeking over the tops of those buildings there. 1 month. Yeah, so congratulations. The Yankees beat the Red Sox. Detroit Tigers beat the Cleveland Guardians. The Dodgers defeated the Reds. And the Cubs defeated the Milwaukee Brewers. So now the Cubs will face... No, I'm wrong. The Cubs defeated the San Diego Padres. I was trying to think of my next statement there. Now the Cubs face Milwaukee Brewers. That's why I messed that up. And the Dodgers play the Phillies. Because the Phillies and the Milwaukee had the best records in the National League there. Baseball. What else we got to talk about? I know we got the Bears, but I think the Bears are going to have like a 500 season. If they win more than half their games, it'll be a successful season, especially how it started. But they're 2-2 now. They're enough to give us hope to break our heart later in the season. But hey, we'll still root for the Bears. I'm not happy about them moving to Arlington Heights. But again, I didn't make that decision. NFL is going to go do whatever makes them the most money by sucking the most money out of the public. Hey, they're working on the... Yeah, so here's the busway. They're working on... Are they going to... Looks like they're building another platform. Maybe they're building another platform here at Van Buren. This is interesting. So I'll look into this. We walked by that park on Larrabee this morning. That I looked at the plans. They're doing a running walking path there in a little pavilion, and they're investing like $4 million in that park there. Here's Roosevelt University, Congress Hotel. Shibuya, you're tuning in from Shibuya, Tokyo. Yeah, what a great place there. I've been to some of those train stations in Tokyo, Shibuya, Shinjuku, those big intersections where you cross. Yeah, thanks for tuning in from Tokyo. I like Tokyo a lot because I like transit. And it took me a long time to figure out how to use the Tokyo subway system. But once you figure out the donut line, it's very daunting before that. But I'm very, very thankful that they have the station names in Japanese and English, and some of them are in Chinese. When I was staying in a Japanese hotel, there was a fire alarm, and the first announcement was in Japanese, the second was in Chinese. I could tell the difference, and the third was in English, which I appreciated, but because I don't speak Japanese. I would like to. All I know is arigato and hi. Here, Michigan Avenue, Congress Hotel. They say that's haunted. The reason it's haunted, in the build up to World War II in 1939, around that time, there was a European refugee. You could call her an undocumented migrant that was living in there, and she was Jewish, and she had her 2 sons with her, and she was afraid of being deported back to Nazi-controlled Poland at that time. And so she left from the 12th floor, or the 13th if you count the mezzanine, And what was so disturbing is she threw her 2 kids out. They died too with the fall. And that's why they think that Congress is haunted. And it's hard to talk about that. She was so desperate. And here's the Roosevelt University National Register. See how thick the walls? These are load-bearing walls. This load-bearing wall is holding up this whole wall of the building. This side of the building sinking because they didn't go to bedrock when they built this in the late 1890s. Louis Sullivan and his partner Donkmar Adler designed this, the auditorium building in Chicago. There's a wonderful acoustically nice acoustic auditorium here, and what was interesting about it, it didn't have any box seats. It was supposed to be for the common. Everybody was supposed to be equal. That was a big thing, because all the old historical European boxes would have, or European opera houses and auditoriums would have box seats for like the aristocracy, and that's why the auditorium doesn't have that. National Landmark backstage tours. I might try to get inside here for the open house. They're going to have the open house later this month. Here's this upcoming artists at the auditorium. Psychedelic Furs, Moon Safari, Airplane Moon Safari, Ex Los Lobos, Boss Skaggs is coming here. Sting's coming to the auditorium here. Here's the train. There's the green line. There's the green line heading across Ida B. Wells here at Wabash. Oh, you were going the wrong way on a one-way street? Yeah, it's easy to do. It's easy to do, especially downtown. Sometimes it's confusing, yeah. So there's some new construction there. Let's check that out there. Let's get across the street here. So here we're at, here's where the Hosting International is. So this is the last major hostel I know since they closed down the one in Lincoln Park. They closed down whatever that hostel was in Lincoln Park there on Arlington. I just want to take a sneak peek at this new construction here. We'll cross to the other side. But here, this is Wabash. Yeah, here's the J. Ira Nikki Harris Family Hostel. It's Hostling International right here at Wabash and Ida B. Wells. Yeah, thanks, Taco. Boss Skaggs, you see that, Beth? Yeah. Hey, thanks for watching there. Running Warrior, how you doing there? Guess we can cross. Is there any left turns? No, we got it. Okay, good. Here in Lockport? Hey, that's good. Hey, look at all this chalk. Look at all this chalk art here. Hey, they got cats and bunnies, and they went to town hopscotch. Look at all this. Wow, this is some nice stuff here. Look at that. They got the face and the alien there. I like that. It's chalk art here. Welcome fall. Welcome fall. Yeah, it's nice murals. We're down by Columbia College here. Columbia in Chicago. There's the moose blowing a bubble there. Here, let's check out this new construction here. So it's going tall. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. It's nearing 20 stories. It's nearing 20 stories there. I didn't realize that was going to be so tall. It's another mid-rise housing development being built in the South Loop here. There's a lot of construction going on the roads here too. Yeah, it's a beautiful day. Yeah, thanks, Christopher. Thanks for the good reference there. So here, let's check out. Well, there's... I would have crossed the street, but there's people begging for charity there, so I'll avoid I have a personal pet peeve that we lease off our public sidewalks to, even if it's for a good cause, even if it's for a charity. I just don't like the high pressure guilt tactics. Just like I don't like telemarketers calling me on my phone. Same thing. No offense to people that work for these charities. Here, look at this new construction here. Here's the new construction here. This is Harrison, between Harrison and Balboa here, South Loop of Chicago. We're underneath the L tracks here. So I gotta start heading back north here. We'll head back around. Here's the Harmony. And there's the green and the pink line, or the green and the orange line head through there. Excuse me, I'm wrong. So here we'll head around. There goes the train. There's right on cue. There's the green line heading in from the south side, heading into the loop. They'll head over to the west side. You deserve the MVP haircut experience. There you go. Look at the new construction there. And we got bike lanes. Harrison's got bike lanes, yeah. So there's the Jones School. Harrison. That goes through the South Loop. We'll head up State Street. They got the skeletons. Maybe we saw the skeletons yesterday. I think I'm gonna head up Wabash though. I'll cut over. I just want to see that new construction. What time we got here? 12:41. Yeah, even if you donate money, I'm not going to use it to buy a car. So, thanks for. I need all the help I can get. So here we'll head up State Street here. Yeah, sometimes I don't feel like I'm a real American citizen unless I own a car. It's like you're not considered a person unless you own a cell phone there either. You know. What's more important, the car or the cell phone? Humans are. We just need to pay the bills. Pay the financing. You must consume. You must own 20 cars. Everywhere I go, I take my car with me. Here's the Harold Washington Library. Look at this amazing neoclassical. We'll wait till the weather. We'll wait till some like crappy weather day, and we'll go inside, and I'll use the Wi-Fi, and we'll go to that winter garden. There's a winter garden up there, and it's nice, good for the wintertime. Harold Washington Library, the main library branch for the whole city of Chicago. Here we'll cross here. There's the Robert Morris Center there. We got housing for DePaul and other colleges here. There's the Roosevelt. See, Roosevelt University built their housing there. There's a lot of housing for people that go to colleges here in the South Loop, which is great. I think Ken's lives down in this area. Hey, look at that nice yellow car there. Some of you might follow her. She's another Chicago live streamer there. She knows Nick Koiken and all those guys. There's a Thunderbird there, waiting across the street there. So here's where all the traffic comes off the Eisenhower Expressway. There's the train heading into the loop there, crossing Ida B. Wells. We're heading up State Street. We'll go from State to Wabash to Michigan Avenue, kind of zigzag back through here. Yeah, Ernie, you see that building from the orange line there. Yeah, it's going up. It's taller than I thought it would be. I remember walking through there earlier in the year, like it was just coming out of the ground, and then once they started, they're probably doing a couple of floors a week now. They're really making progress, just like the 400 North Lakeshore is going. They're almost up to 50 stories. Here's Ogedai's Dreaming. Huh, that's a book. There's the 400 South State Street, Chicago Public Library here. Almost like the cartoon example of postmodern, over-the-top, cartoonish architecture. But I like it. Yeah, it has the thick walls. That's why I got to use the Wi-Fi when I'm in there. Hey, thanks for tuning in. Welcome to Chicago. Here we're on State Street, heading up through, leaving the South Loop. Here comes the Orange Line from Midway. Ernie, there it is. Yeah, Orange Line's heading around the loop, going to the Harold Washington Library stop here. So here at DePaul University has this building. They do have a bookstore in there and some music library and some other stuff, or music store. We're still on State Street here. We just crossed Van Buren. Here's the Red Line subway. Exit only though. Yeah, have a great afternoon there. Thanks, Ernie. Thanks for tuning in there. Appreciate it. Ernie does a lot of streaming. So check out Chicago Nuggies there. Appreciate it. Thanks for stopping in. Ernie sees all this stuff all the time anyway, too. There's State Street Cultural Walk. There it is. Yeah, see him tonight there. Ernie will be streaming tonight. An investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Benjamin Franklin. So there might be some skeletons we didn't see down here. I hear a megaphone. Is there something going on here? Let's see. I see some bike cops. Yeah, okay, over here. We got some here we go, we'll film this. Fall of the Trump fascist regime here. So we'll wait to cross the street here. We got some bike police here monitoring the situation. So here, this is, you see how you can cross diagonally here. This is Jackson at State Street. We'll go by the DePaul Center here. There's the Pickwick Alley over here. There's the train going across. But here, let's do this First Amendment free speech here. The Trump fascist regime here. How you doing? Yeah, how you doing?
On October 5th.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
South Ashland.
Good. They're advertising for a. Yeah. Thank you. So time has come, the fall of the Trump fascist regime, November the 5th, Washington, D.C. So there's going to be major demonstrations in Washington. Is that what this is? November the 5th. Okay.
The country down.
Yeah.
Millions of people.
You should know about this mass organizing meeting too.
Good. There
Tomorrow in Pilsen.
In Pilsen.
3 to 5 p.m.
3 to 5.
at St. Pius.
I
There
know
are
where that's
meetings
at.
like this occurring in major cities
Good.
all across the country.
I'm glad we're organizing. Thank you so much. Thank you for the information. Appreciate it. Keep up the good work here. So hey, thank you. Here, thank you. It's good. Here, look at this. Yeah. So here. Yep. See, we got First Amendment free speech rights, political assembly, and freedom of speech. So here, it looks like come to Chicago's mass organizing meeting Sunday, October the 5th, St. Pius there. So we might check that out on Sunday. I might go down to Maxwell Street Market will be going on, and then we might stop by that. The Moon Festival for Chinatown is on Saturday night. So I think it's from 3 to 9. But then Maxwell Street Market usually starts at 10 o'clock. And but it only goes to like 2 or 3, so this will be after that. So hey, we'll talk more about this. But here at patio, this is the Pickwick place here. You go back and get the coffee. Look at this box alley here where you can have coffee. And there we go. Yeah, Maxwell Street Market. I meant to get over there last year. I went to Maxwell Street, just not when they were having the market. I got reruns. Went there, Wabash. Yeah, we'll just head up Wabash here. Here's a Kodak central camera. Look at this classic neon sign. And this business establishment was damaged during the 2020 George Floyd protests, and we were always just baffled. We're like, why pick on this place? It's not a big corporate. What did Central Camera do to you? You know, we were all heartbroken. We're like, you know, pick who you're gonna loot different, you know. Don't pick on a mom and pop Chicago-owned based business, you know. There, look at this motorcycle. Look at this Harley Davidson. It's on Wall Street. There, we're heading up. This is the Adams and Wabash stop here on the loop of Chicago, Wabash Avenue. What time we got? 12:50. Let's see how far I can make it in 10 minutes. Let's see if we can make it up to Randolph here. Yeah, I've been to the Shameless House. I got reruns. I got several reruns of the Shameless House. I've even gone to Sheila's house, which is near there in the Shameless. It's down on 21st Street in Holman. It's like in Lawndale. It's north of Little Village. It's on the other side of the tracks, but you could take the pink line down there. Yeah, if you want to mess with me. That's on TikTok. On TikTok, I got reruns, and I could transfer it over to YouTube if necessary. Ernie was down at the Mexican Independence Day Parade. I went down to it last year, but I didn't cover it this year. And if we ever get down that way again, we'll be sure to film at the Shameless House there. I also filmed V's house. V's house is like 2 houses down from the one they used for Frank Gallagher's house there in the Shameless. And here, we'll go by Miller's Pub here. Yeah, same name on TikTok as YouTube. Appreciate it, yeah. So here's Miller's Pub. Family owned and operated. They got good ribs. Yeah, that guy that the guy that has like several 100,000 followers on his healthcare should be free platforms there. I saw he was streaming down at the ice facility there in the near western suburbs. They every day they maintain a protest there, which takes a lot of time and effort to maintain that, keep up that resistance. Here's Wabash peacefully. Hopefully. We saw him on Michigan Avenue. So here's Wabash here, Wabash and Monroe, loop of Chicago. We'll stay on this. I'm staying on the shaded side of the street because it's pretty hot today. It's probably mid-80s. Feels like a summer's day here, October the 3rd. Yeah, you see how they added, you see how the windows changed at the top? They used to be commercial Class A office space, and they changed it to luxury residential and added those balconies once they built Millennium Park, and made this a mixed use building where it has residential mixed with the commercial uses, which wasn't always the case. Man, they're working on all the streets and sidewalks here on Wabash here. Yeah, the Cubs won. You got it. We got the footage. We were there. My stream cut out a little bit because I was filming the live broadcast, and YouTube figured it out and pulled the plug. But here comes the pink line. Here comes the pink line. Hey, Nof Nof Grill. Get some dumplings. Go to what's this place called? J-I-C, is that a C? C-I-O? Chikio? I don't know how you say this. J-I-A-O. It's J-I-A-O. Jiao, okay. Hey, look at these commercial buildings. Look at the top of these buildings. These are architecturally significant, and they saved these when they built this building. They're just the facades. Man, the L is noisy. The city is noisy too. There's the orange line there, yeah. This is the Washington and Wabash station here. This one was consolidated. There was one north and south that they tore down, and they added this one. See, look at all the horns. I'm deaf from the horns. Here we're at this Washington Street. There's underneath the wall bed. They ruined everything. Yeah, I agree that, well, it wasn't just the BLM protest riots, whatever you want to call them. It also was the pandemic. The pandemic, to me, was the chicken and the egg thing. Like, the pandemic came first, and then George Floyd, and it was a 1-2 punch. And a lot of people from the suburbs stopped coming downtown, and it was the double whammy of they stopped coming because they stopped working downtown and started working from home, and then there was less people downtown, so it was the crime. It was easier, there was nobody on the streets, so the crime got worse, and so that made less people come downtown because they're like, I don't want to come out for work. I'm not going to come down now because the crime's worse, and so it was a viciously reinforcing cycle. And a lot of people moved out of Chicago in the last 5 years, but there are people moving in. At the same time, people were moving out, other people were moving in. And I know that because they reached out to me. They watched my channel and they said, I'm moving to Chicago, and they would ask me questions and stuff. So hopefully this has value, and you guys as being part of our lunchtime Chicago-based community. You don't have to live in Chicago. You're just interested in this content, interested in cities, American culture, whatever, or just my voice, and I appreciate that. And you help people out too in the comments. I noticed that there. You got to know some of these people that have moved to Chicago, and we become friends with them when we meet them on the street. People go to college here. Here we're back to Michigan Avenue here. Hey, spooky skeletons. That's that's the Raising Cane's. Hey, ornamental cabbage and kale here. Here, Michigan Avenue. Oops, almost stepped on a bird. That bird, you better get out. I didn't see you there. Sorry, birdie. Hey, there's the Aon, the Prudential, St. Regis blue building behind there. We were just over at the Bean. If you want to see the Bean, we saw it at the beginning. You can rewind it here. Here's Remington's. You go to Remington's here. On Michigan Avenue, right across from Millennium Park. 30 North Michigan Avenue. So hey, we'll head by the Cultural Center and wrap this up. Rudy, how you doing there? M Penn, hi Pep. Stuart, how you doing there? You talking about Pink Floyd? Roxana, yeah. Yeah, we're really worried about the L because, not only we're going to lose federal funding, the city doesn't have enough money, and they did get a lot of money during the pandemic, but then the ridership went down because, again, it was the vicious cycle of less people were working downtown, so less people took the L, so the crime got worse on the L because no one was riding it, and then people are afraid to ride it now, and they're like, and then ridership's down, they lose their funding, it becomes a vicious cycle. People that don't use it, they're like, why am I wasting my taxpayer money on this loss leading thing? But it has a value. America can't be great without great cities. You really expect us to have New York City and Chicago not to have transit for people that visit us from other countries, to be able to fly in the airport, to take the train to downtown? Why would you want to live in a country where our major cities don't have transit? Even if you don't use it, other people use it, and it's important and vital to our infrastructure, to our economy, just like the interstates and roads. And I know no one wants to pay for this stuff, but somebody does. And money comes out of nothing anyway. All these government shutdowns and debt battles become posturing for just where they allocate resources. But they'll find a way to create new debt, trust me. The debt's continuing to increase, despite all the tariffs and whatever else they're trying to do to cut other previously allocated funding, to use it for terrorizing the country with masked people, throwing people in the back of vans. I know it's supposed to be get the undocumented people off the street, but they're terrorizing U.S. citizens because it's impossible not to. You know, it's impossible for ICE to do what they want to do without racially profiling people. So the Supreme Court is violating our ideals, and the rest of the world's mocking us. I don't blame people. People from India saw that video I posted of Ernie, and they're like, America's a racist country. I'm like, you should know that. Welcome to America. As much as we think we make progress, and things are better than they used to be, I do acknowledge that. Things are much better than they used to be, and we all should be thankful and celebrate that. We are moving in the right direction. But a lot of times it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. You know, and that's what we're going through now. The pendulum swings one way, it comes viciously back the other way. Happened after Reconstruction, happened after the 1920s, after the 1960s, you know, these civil rights periods. Hey, look at the flags there. So we're back to Michigan Avenue and Lake. We made it back. I got to go back to work here. So yeah, I'll look into what we're going to do this weekend. I wanted to check out maybe the Moon Lantern Festival there in Chinatown on Saturday. And I'll see if I can motivate myself to get down to Maxwell Street on Sunday. And if we do, we'll go check out this organized protest here and see what they say. Here, we'll get across the street here. Hey. Hey. Oh, there's the macaw, the guy with the macaw there. See, he's got the macaw right there. Hey, thanks everybody. Have a good rest of your Friday there. Happy Friday. We'll celebrate for one day Cubs victory, and then they got to play Milwaukee tomorrow. I think it's a 1 o'clock game, and it's in Milwaukee. So there, we'll cross Michigan Avenue here. Here we go. So here's the nice view looking north to the Wrigley and the North Michigan Avenue. Hey, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you in a few hours there. We'll walk home tonight on YouTube. So have a great day. Thanks for your attention. Thanks, mods. Thanks for the great job there. And we'll see you soon there. Thanks a lot. Enjoy this summer-like day. It's great. See you, Rudy.